Studio Galaxy 473, and we're operating in Confer. And we're back with the second part of our program, and that part is just pure politics. Remember, the number to call is 536 2558. 536 2558. That's the number for Studio Galaxy 473. And you are with the Galaxy Equalizers. And on this program today, we have Master Carl and Francis Spear.
Yeah, simple squad.
Simple squad. And we deal with an issue, and the topic was provoked as a result of Trinidad passing a state of emergency. And we are saying that draconian laws and state of emergency is not necessary. We believe that Caribbean leaders seems to be too emotional, too irrational, too quick, and too ready to circumvent the Constitution and evoke draconian laws and state of emergency. When these things take place and it goes without people complaining about it, it spreads Jamaica have state of emergency, I believe, almost 2 years now. In some areas, police division. Trinidad evoke state of emergency. And Grenada passed Draconian laws. So we are advancing the view that Draconian laws and state of emergency is not necessary in the Caribbean. Some of the challenges and problems we have, we're well equipped to address it under the Constitution. Master Carl, you may have to put on your headgear.
Yeah.
Call on you.
Yeah.
We have with us in the studio Master Carl. In Tongan, we have to be very careful in the Caribbean, particularly our institutions, our organization seems to be very silent. The University of the West Indies is very silent. I always call on them because I believe that's where our best brain are. Our think tank, they ought to be a think tank on fundamental issues in the Caribbean. And violence, increasing violence is one of them. Our trade union throughout the Caribbean is not very proactive about social decadence and violence. And they stand to be affected more because most of the members are part of the proletariats, the working class, the people who fall in the lower income bracket, the people who fall in the lower socio-academic strata. So the trade unions ought to be of concern. The business sector are powerful negotiators, and maybe they feel draconian laws and state of emergency might be to their benefit. I don't know. But if our institutions are not speaking out, our journalists are quiet, our academic institutions are quiet, our lawyers, the bar association in the different Caribbean countries, the legal fraternity, they shut them out. It means that people's rights would be trampled. And your children and my children would be taken advantage of. State of emergencies and draconian laws seems to empower the police. And the police could get that in their head. And you could have summary executions where the police believe they are judge, jurors, and executioners. And they have the authority to mash down your door, break up your bedroom, and arrest your wife or your husband. They have the opportunity now to slaughter individuals on the street. There are too much evidence in the world of that. I don't know if because Caribbean leaders are pseudo-socialists and they emulate China and Russia and Cuba and Iran. They does not recognize that we have a democratic country. We're supposed to be a law-abiding people. We have to follow the Constitution. And the Constitution have enough provision to take care of little ruckus. So you have a little ruckus in Trinidad, where one group of people fire a gun and shoot people in another community. And the community go and fire a gun and shoot people in the next community. And the community go back and fire a gun and shoot people. A lot of emotion takes place. The government pass draconian laws and declare state of emergency. I believe Rowley should go. And I'm always a strong supporter of PNM and Rowley. But my support for Rowley ends. Yes, my brother. You might have to put on
Yeah, well,
their phone just in case you get callers. We are very interactive on this program. It is pure politics. We provoke discussion. We play devil's advocate, and we don't care who we hit once we speak in the truth.
say ye ye.
Say ye ye.
Now, state of emergency. State of emergency simply gives the security forces or the security apparatus powers outside of what is normal. Like case in point, where the police might need a warrant to go and break down gates do. In a state of emergency, they just run in. However, you have repercussions to that, senior. Because if they do things that is unconstitutional or against the law, a state of emergency will causing them to be safe because you could get redress. What a lot of Caribbean governments does for the failure of nipping things in the bud, like the situation in Trinidad. When you hear the crime situation in Trinidad, you believe that nothing is being done. So we hear many times advocate that the powers that be, whoever they might be, should go to the schools because a lot of things stems from the schools. But they don't worry me and senior, and they would not go in the school so nip it in the bud. So when somebody kills somebody down the road and so on, they say, "Let we have a state of emergency." They have it for 2 months, and then things come back to normal. To normal, we normalize. But the problem is because of the lack of testicular fortitude from the powers that be senior to deal with situation, we come tolerant to those things on it. Because those things are not normal, or because when we come tolerant, the only how the powers that be believe they could deal with the situation is to have a state of emergency. Now, the state of emergency could be used to trample on the rights of citizens. Because at the end of the day, as some people in Grenada like to say, not only good people that would be in the security apparatus. So they could use that for extrajudicial killing. Like maybe if they want to kill a man long, they just say, well, this man thing, and he run from us and we get him with 2 guns, so we kill him. So in my view, state of emergency does not solve the problem. It's putting a band-aid. You don't get into the root cause of the problem. And same thing like you say, senior time, you hear the children sing, I'm glad you see in trouble. That way we have to nip these things on them in the board. Because if we don't do that, and we have to rely on state of emergency every time, it doesn't make no sense. And relates to you use the word draconian laws. I need to get your view on this thing, senior. And before I get into what I want to ask you, I would give this scenario. There was a time, and we stayed in Trinidad. There was a time there was an election in Trinidad, and the two major parties won 17 seats, 17 seats. And a Tobago outfit with ANR and so on, 2 seats. Robinson joined with the UNC that time, so UNC went in government. He was made minister of extraordinary, and somewhere down the road he was made president. And then the next election tie. And he said, nah, don't give him back the UNC, the power. Now, I will bring it to the context of here and the unions. In this whole pension saga or debacle, and one must understand the union's role. I hope my friend listening me, the union's role in all of this. Because when the government, the previous government approached the union on discussion, the union held hard on gratuity and so forth. And we know what happened after. The rest was history. Senior. But this present government praises the PRG so much. And are we seeing the same PRG saga all over? Because when the PRG took over, senior, they suspended the constitution. They They damaged pension and they brought in NIS.
And
You don't see the same similarity here.
exactly.
They promise pension. We go pay, even though we go borrow. And now they're taking people money. And here all this thing is unjust. So when they say promises, made promises kept, you must ask them that. What happened to the pension promise? Because you're promising salary increase, Igwe. Stick with me, Igwe.
I do with you.
Of 5%. But you bring in this pension to me, pension disqualification thing. And you say you're taking 3%. The union want the 1% to 0.5% or what out of that 5%. And NIS still want the 1% or something out of that. So what is there for the public worker? Because the public worker must understand this thing will work out right for them. Because first of all, and persons who are more learned than us, senior, is saying this thing is unconstitutional. Because one school of thought is once you are appointed by the PSC, you're entitled to pension. So they really, as you say, senior, the term fully trick. Why do what it does use? They trick the people. Yeah, what you annex it does use? They fool the people.
Yeah.
With this whole pension
Deceive
thing.
the people.
They deceive.
And it kind of sad because bright people they trick.
Not all the people with briefcase
Not
are
ordinary
certificated.
people, you know. A whole set of people with briefcase are certificated.
And senior, what behooved me was the same set of people who listen to me and you and trying to beat us on grammar. They get tricked in the pocket.
Yeah, grammar trick them. Because you see, a lot of people doesn't read. You know? That's why I would like some of we politicians. When you hear we speak about the Nazis. The Nazis passed draconian laws. What do we say draconian? Excessively harsh and severe. Excessively harsh and severe laws. And they got rid of the press. The revolution did the same thing. As soon as they came in power, although they campaigned on freedom of the press, at that time, Gary passed a law. We call it Draconian law. Because he said you have to deposit $20,000 with the Treasury in the consolidated fund. So when you libel people, they could get paid. Because he claimed they was using freedom of the press to libel people. And when you brought them to court, they declared they bankrupt. So Gary said, if you want to start a newspaper, you register, you pay $20,000. Well, $20,000 those days was a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money.
We call it a draconian law. And the revolution said they want freedom of the press. So when they overthrew the legitimate government violently, they immediately passed draconian laws to ban the press. And Leslie Pierre and Lloyd Noel, who were strong supporters of the revolution then, decide to put out the Grenada Vice. And immediately Bishop tell them no. They're going to get Tillman Thomas. Tillman Thomas was a human rights lawyer. They jail all of them. Tillman Thomas, Leslie Pierre, Lloyd Noel go in jail. All press in Grenada done. Draconian laws was passed. I always say Maurice Bishop passed the Pension Disqualification Act. And nothing is wrong with that. Because at that time, a number of factors was taking place and NIS was passed. But those who didn't like Maurice Bishop, at that time we claim that the pension disqualification laws that was passed was to make Grenadian non-person. What do I mean by that? In Russia and communist countries, when you had professionals who fall out of favor with the government, they fire them. So a medical doctor and you cannot travel in Russia. You can't go away in Cuba.
You have to get permission.
Could have ended up sweeping the street to make a living. The only way you could get a job is to clean the hospital. So imagine he was a surgeon in the hospital, but now you're throwing bedpan in the hospital. That is, we advance the argument. That is why Maurice Bishop passed the Pension Disqualification Act. But the NIS was generally an issue where they believe we must have one premier pension scheme.
Covering public and non-public.
This government came in and used the same strategy, the very said strategy on some union leaders, because they refuse to reference the elders in the society. They were young and over exuberant, and they got tricked with an old strategy. So now that the government passed draconian laws, take it and leave it. That is a draconian law.
How the union intends to redeem themselves, Senior?
I think the union still trying to wallow out of the dilemma that they helped put themselves in. They have been, I see the two lawyers come perhaps to the rescue, to rescue the psychic. But the unions have been so deeply involved in Deacon melee. You see, they watch Deacon dabble with their cult. They watch Deacon fire cars to be fired, women of Carriacou and Grenada who worked 3 to 19 years. The union sat down and been insulted by the rogue permanent secretary in Carriacou, who even refused to meet with the Ministry of Labor. You had union leaders for the first time in the history of Grenada, the teachers' executive, openly defy all trade union logic and calling for the head of public officers.
But Senior, the big question is, with this new bill or act, or as it is, would the workers be better off?
No. The worker would not be better off. The pension scheme would bust, and the worker is going to end up with a pension.
Because with the track record of this administration...
Well, you don't even have to bother with the track record.
No, I'm just telling you, look what they do to GDB. It's like putting in them hand another cash cow, you know.
Look at the committee they put. They say the union going to have representative. In consultation with the union, they're going to get a representative.
But what is strange, Senior? In our political parliamentary system, there's no room for any input of the opposition.
Well, they don't meddle with the opposition there. But listen to the union. This was an insult to the union, and I am sorry for the union. You see, the union young, and they were not blessed with the counsel of the elder persons in the country. On one occasion, I think the first time after 1983, when we had representation back in the house, in the upper house, it was done in consultation with the union. The government chose Eric Pierre, and they said that is the union representative. The union didn't choose Eric Pierre. The union did not choose Eric Pierre. So now the government using the same thing. They don't say they will take a representative from the union, that the union could select a representative and send it. They could choose anybody and say that is your representative. And that would be tantamount to consultation with the union. The union should reject that immediately. That ought to be a no-no. So you have the union representative selected by the Prime Minister. So is the Prime Minister choose a team? And look at the team, the sham boards.
Like GDB.
GDB is a sham board. That board, these individuals lack common decency.
Because in our region, senior, we had situation like that in the BVI one time, and the funds was razzle dazzle.
Well, obviously, is a
And
cash
here,
cow.
is there any guarantee that the
Guarantee.
people's money would not be razzle dazzle? Because they say you have some investor or some strange
You
thing,
can take all this money and go.
and then
All this money disappear. What? When NIS start, now this thing looks like an economic joke.
like
This
a
is an
this
economic
thing's
joke.
looking like a Ponzi
A
scheme.
Ponzi
Like a
scheme.
Ponzi scheme.
When NIS started, I think NIS started with 4% and 5%, 9% in 1983. You know. Now NIS is 12.5%, and they're raising it. They go every year. They're increasing
Both
the
in
amount
age
and they're
and
increasing the
money
age. So the hope is you die
before you benefit.
you benefit. You die before you retire. Because it is 60, they intend to bring it to 65, and then they're going to go to 75. But the government said 3%. 3% can't even meet administrative costs. So it's just to provide a sum of money for the government.
So who paying the board?
The 3%. The 3% you pay going to pay the board.
So they're making money for some of the friends then.
And the government don't have a track record. NDC government don't have a track record of paying NIS. You can go back and watch the record.
Yes.
They don't have a track record of paying NIS. So what they're going to do is to take people money, and when people retire, they have to go on the state to go on the seed program. It doesn't matter. And that is draconian laws. It is not beneficial. It is excessive. It is abusive. It is totally unnecessary. Draconian laws normally exist when you want to take people's rights away. We in Grenada, we in the CARICOM must guard individual rights jealously.
Another thing, senior. Now, all the discussion around pension, this present government say even though we have to borrow to pay, fortunately they meet a pregnant treasury, so they pay. And now they say if they continue to pay in the same way, they're talking about bankruptcy. Okay. The other big promise they make to people was make everybody permanent in 12 months. And permanent work, as they say, and pension was twins. So now that they bring a Ponzi, as you see, or a saving union, you know, they in school,
The Ponzi scheme.
yeah, for somebody to take. We are wait to see how they go deal with them functional review and regularization. Because they say unless they didn't fix pension,
I don't waiting to see nothing the government is touching that.
so regularization won't be a reality.
Well, how you gonna be a reality? What you gonna regularize?
You hard on them, senior.
No, well, what you gonna regularize? I ain't talking long, you know. You watch this NDC government. This is the worst form of NDC we ever had in the country. When they evoke Maurice Bishop's spirit, they gave a glimmer of hope to all atheists in the country, all communists and Marxists, Leninists. When Deacon evoked Maurice Bishop's spirit, he gave a glimmer of hope to all Marxist Leninists. I'm certain that the president of the TUC, you ever hear him say anything? The last comment I heard from him publicly is when the government claimed that they raised minimum wage. He was very quick to say, no more work, no more work. So people who are working in the agriculture sector, from $40, they raise it to $60.
And he choose to attack the
The first thing he attack is the employer.
Syrians and them too.
Yes. And that's his sad.
Yeah, he didn't attack the government, he attacked the Syrians and say he hope they know they should pay.
Yeah,
The
they
Syrians and say, well, if we have to pay, well, some got to go home.
yeah, go on.
They don't attack any government. It's the vulnerable set of people.
You see,
So you see,
these guys are communists.
Because only the as you does say, Mr. Pierre, people are the lower income bracket. It's always those who get the shitty end that is sticking. And in all of this pension thing, the people are them saying the judiciary was exempted
Of
and they
course,
working for more money than the
of
ordinary man.
course, the classism. This this political leader we have propagating classism. That is why you see the top echelons of the NDC. Look at the expression, the utterances. Some of them poor like church mice, but they get a little money because of politics, and they're talking about commoners. They automatically they believe they're in a superior class, and they're gonna shed tears later on because if money, you could have money and you don't have no investment, inflation and bank charges going to, and your reckless spending go erode cash, and then you're back with the proletariats again.
So the public workers
They get
are the
screwed.
ones.
The public workers get screwed. And it's sad and it's unfortunate. And I've always said one of the worst things is when you are chiefly responsible
So
for
what
destroying them.
advice would you give to the new leadership of the NNP as it relates to the pension issue? Senior.
But I think the NNP presently know, I don't know what advice I'll give them. Because they don't take advice.
You don't
They,
think?
they won't take advice from us. You see, individuals have to go back and understand. If you represent your people, first of all, the legality of the Pension Act that passed now, you should immediately get constitutional lawyers to look at it. Reference what is going on in the Caribbean because the Caribbean had the same situation as us, except they didn't have a pension disqualification act. But it was in a system, and all of them introduced NIS as one of the premier pension schemes. So find out what is going on there and get a few constitutional lawyers to look at the laws that are passed, that has been passed by this government vis-a-vis the court decision, and look at the constitutionality. That is what is important. Don't wait 10, 15, 20 years. That's the first thing they need to do. Look at laws are passed, look at the constitutionality. Because it may not be easy for you to go in parliament to try to change laws like that. What you need to do, look at the constitutionality of the laws. I hear NNP say they're going to rescue, but I always say don't set up with people. NNP must never set up with people because people might believe you could rescue overnight. No, 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 no. This time is harder than
Hard work.
between 2008 2013 when NDC was the economy was in free fall and NDC was selling property. This time might be harder. You have to explain to your people, educate them. And this present leader have to remember one of the strong points of NNP is the inclusiveness. And there must be room in the house for everybody, even the atheists and the communists. And you must prepare to sit down and dialogue with them with a view to progress Grenada. We are moving from a government that has fractured our country badly, that promoting classism, that dabble in their cult, that trick every sector of the country, including bright public
They
office.
deceive the bright people in
They
Grenada.
deceive them, they trick them. That government, and people has forget that this government, I don't know whether they receive money, cash or kind, but it seems to me that they have given away the authority for us to direct our foreign policy. Nobody gives away that free. And the government of Grenada, there seems to be a third party directing our foreign policy. This government flaunt laws with impunity. And maybe it's the first time in the history of Grenada we have a prime minister that every opportunity he gets, he flies out of the country. I am convinced that he is evil and he's been summoned out of the country. I don't believe he is in control anymore of where he goes. I believe there is a third party that is in control of Deaton. Why? I don't know. We hear a situation that the hospital site is one of the reasons Deaton wants to build a new hospital because a third party won the site.
Prison.
We are hearing that he wants to build a new prison now. Well, this prison come like a shocker. Christmas time, the Prime Minister said he wants to build a new prison. Maybe
listen this. What you say comes under what you call state capture. It is a type of systematic political corruption in which private interests significantly influence a state decision-making process to their own advantage. And that's what I'm saying there. So what we see in Grenada now is state capture. Some persons' private interest is before the national interest. So the hospital
and the prison.
and the prison, some body private.
You have another
interest.
name for the prison. A name we just call it. You're going up in the
Mahogany
the
Road.
mahogany road.
Yeah.
So,
Because of the view.
so that's what is state capture.
Yeah.
Some persons,
They want the site.
and he's what? The Prime Minister, they say the truth must come out. The Prime Minister said, when you see certain decision is being made strangely, find out who pay for the rally and big fete. That is the simple explanation of state capture, senior.
Well,
What is going on in Grenada is state capture. Some persons' private interest is being put before the national interest. That is why you could say only 6 or 7% from the judiciary, so they don't have to go through the same thing with the pension. That is why persons could get in contract for sign for $52,000 and get paid only $700. What you call somebody's personal interest is ahead of the national interest. So you could comfortably say he go build a new prison in the next
to
place.
lobby the judiciary in Grenada with cash and kind.
So
You want to lobby the judiciary in Grenada with cash and kind.
Well, so here what happens. Here what happens, senior. And we have to put it in perspective. But before I say that, you say something about NNP and all-inclusiveness. You have two words that has become associated, and NNP should remove from their vocabulary immediately: ungrateful and traitor. That's
Yes.
two words they are to do use.
And that was not the words.
I don't know how these
You
words
must take it
integrate into them traitor and thing.
That is an NDC word. But you see, catching. You see, the government, and I've been warning for 2 years, NDC introduced restorative justice. And NNP was very quiet. And you wonder if NNP don't have intention of propagating that. Is your time now? Well, my turn come. So NNP, we must guard jealously their fundamentals. And this language of the NDC must not be permitted to infiltrate. Don't call nobody don'ts. Don't call nobody classless. Because somebody disagree with you, they're not a traitor. They disagree with you. And you want disagreement. You sit down and argue, you exchange ideas, and then you say, let's work together. Yes, my brother.
State capture is when he knows, and you put it in its proper perspective, the draconian piece of legislation could reach before one of these judicial persons. So what would be the outcome, senior? You see the game?
Bribery.
You see the games?
Bribery.
I wonder if people seeing what going on.
Bribery.
He knows. Because he's a what lawyer? A court. They say court, but the good word, what his name?
A commercial.
Corporate lawyer. He knows there's a very good chance that this pension legislation could end up before the judiciary.
And they're protecting their interests.
So the judiciary don't have to pay nothing. What you think go happen, senior? This guy do ordinary, you know. People saying how what? He just come.
He do ordinary evil.
He don't just
and
come.
we permitting evil to grow right in front of us. That's why I say we dissolve the government we have.
Eh?
Yeah.
So Igwe, the NNP ought to unmask and spend time unmasking those issues instead of trying to use the words traitor and ungrateful.
That is not Rolls words for them.
Those words
that was
are nonsense in this dispensation.
You gotta give them some new words, man.
We have to unmask.
Something like
NDC. Dickens are evil being. Now, from day one, I've been studying and watching this individual. He make sure he want to offer the judiciary some olive branch.
Yeah.
So you have something to protect.
Yes.
So when that reaching the court, the first defense is for us to, and we seems to respect the judiciary a lot in Grenada.
Yes.
This is why the NNP did not challenge the decision of the court. They said,
because it's what you have to understand this thing, you know, Igwe. Now, the same set of people who gave the ruling about the 1958 could be the same set of people that particular matter could go before. It's the same set of people who are protected in this document.
So they protect them. The highest paid workers in the country, they don't have to pay.
So check, stay working.
And Deacon know these people going to lose.
So while some people calling people traitor and ungrateful, the Prime Minister walking the angle to take advantage of the marginalized, and then our senior say you go rescue. But you have to know what
you have to be careful.
Rescuing should not be just a rhetoric.
Let people know that this time is tougher than 2008 and 2013. Deacon has just put olives in front of the judiciary. When they come with a decision, they're protecting their interests, and the judiciary don't have a track record in Grenada, the Bar Association. They don't have a track record of minding anybody else's business except theirs. You ever hear these people give charity massacre?
No.
I've never heard the Bar Association do any charitable work in this country. Except pro bono.
Look at what this government has done to poor people's children. And none of the persons in the legal fraternity has said, okay.
None of them.
Let me help one of them.
I've cried about...
Let me see if they could get natural justice.
I've cried about Deborah Charles. They take back her land. She go to a lawyer. She paid $200 to see the lawyer because you have to pay entrance fee like when you go in cinema. Before you go in the lawyer office. She paid the money, and I admire her strength and determination. And the lawyer must watch her go, he realize she poor. He tell her go to the minister. When she go to the minister, she shocked. She said, you that doing me that? Me and you sat on the same school bench. The minister tell her she didn't know it was her. She said, how you could don't know it was me? And they were the two poorest in the class when I did my research. Because the area they go to school, you have some rich guns there. And she cannot get a lawyer. No lawyer taking the case. They're too poor. Some of our lawyers taking people money and telling them plead guilty. The only time the man know he pleading guilty is the day of the court. So Deacon want to make his way right. But you remember, when Deacon sold himself. He sold himself as a man with deep pockets and contacts. And when I go in the rum shop, they say all them lawyers supporting him. So this is the situation we in. We have selected a government that shaft
But
the poor of the poor.
I was pleasantly surprised, senior, in all of this when two of the lawyers that spoke about this thing could be unconstitutional. And I was just having a layman's discussion yesterday with a gentleman. He said, well, if Public Service Commission, based on the Constitution, appoint you, that is the prerequisite to being able to get pension and gratuity. So you see how that new piece could go against the Constitution. So I don't know. But then again, he's securing himself, but you make sure the people are them who might have to interpret that getting paid.
And both of the
So we shouldn't
individuals,
stay woke. So it don't make sense we fighting against one another and calling us
they don't fight against
traitor and ungrateful, and that is the matter at hand, which we need to educate the people. Look at the setup, look at the trap.
The two lawyers that spoke, it was a natural reaction.
Mhm.
Both of them have been associated with the Public Workers Union for years.
Mm.
Bristol father represented the union for eons. He was involved in drafting the Constitution, the very Constitution. And his son still, I believe, company represent the union. The other individual was a public officer, attorney general, and also very active passively in the union. You have active, passive. So sometimes the first reaction could be knee-jerk reaction. But as time goes on, sometimes the voice could disappear from the arena. Because the lawyers in our country and in the Caribbean don't have a track record of speaking on issues that doesn't affect them personally. Look at when we had the referendum. Lawyers will take part in that.
No.
Very difficult for good lawyers to assist poor people.
So equal that biasness.
Yeah, he
bias.
bias. Yeah, he bias now. Big up Sky.
That is how we have to be very careful about draconian laws and state of emergencies, because it takes people's right away. It is excessive. It is unnecessary. When you're selecting politician, you must know something about the politician. There are too many politicians in Grenada that avoid controversial issues. Too much politician. Every time a controversial issue comes about, they hush them out. They're not going to take on controversial issues. Kennedy Boudlal would say they're playing snake in the grass.
You go say politician
that
enough
song-
for
that
precinct.
song-
And they feeling the sleep.
That sound like him.
Michael Battis would say eggs have no place in rock stone dance.
Yeah, that one song like
Michael
him.
Battis believe when you is a politician, don't hide. When issues come about, speak on it. But would the public gravitate to us? No. They like these sneaky politicians that hide in every time controversial issues come about. You see the poor of the poor. A lawyer dead in Trinidad, you see they jump up. State of emergency. That's one lawyer get killed. Not 21, you know. Just one. Not 21, just one. You know how much people dying in Jamaica? Thousands. When Bustamante go after the Rastafarians in Jamaica, you think the lawyers bother to help them? No. The amount of people are dead in Laventille and Trinidad, you think Rowley the bothering with state of emergency? No. One lawyer dead. One lawyer dead. State of emergency. Not 21 lawyers are dead. One. So you have this in society. The lawyers wouldn't fight the lawyers. They would not seek the interests of the ordinary man. The women in Carriacou, you forget the women in Carriacou. The unions were not able to get the Ministry of Labor and the permanent secretary, the rogue permanent secretary.
But no lawyer took up the matter either.
No, and Deacon tell them, go and get a lawyer.
Even Tillman say if they do them wrong, get a lawyer.
Yes, Tillman and all.
But he's a lawyer, didn't see it.
But no, you ain't going to see them. That's why Mary Bishop put him in jail. He's human rights lawyer. The people tell him, he tell them they must do something, you know. First time I heard that. Them people they in jail, he ask them what they do. They say we don't do nothing. He said, Bishop, they're crazy. And they must do something. They say, go and ask Bishop. And they say, let the fool go and ask Bishop. Right here he coming. When he come, they ask him what he do. He said nothing. They said, we tell you we ain't do nothing. So this is the challenge we have in this country. So it's important for us to speak out. And it's important for the ordinary man to understand.
But look at the intention of this government, senior, and one cannot forget. Look at the timing of this draconian laws. They hoping everybody drunk and drinking and thing, let it go in parliament with it.
Christmas time.
The important part of the national budget was not important enough to present. But a law to take advantage on poor people, children, was important.
They don't have time to prepare the budget. And it's the first time in a long time that we're doing the budget in the beginning of the year.
The last time that happened was same NDC as in Buck. So that the track record.
I tell you,
so we could predict
over the years, what happened? NDC always go in the lab and plan lies. And they had some good storytellers to tell a lie. They always tell lies. You have a government that come in and say, let's get this thing right. Look at the financial year. Let us ensure by September, all ministries concentrating on preparing the budget. So the budget will read. So by January, February, everything in place, all the legal work in place and beyond. This government might read budget in March. So normally before the budget read, not much is going on here.
Because what I understood, when the last government was there in and part of the structural adjustment, I don't know if it was a policy or it was made into law that the budget should be read before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And it became a practice.
Yeah, precedent, you know.
So it might not be illegal not to read it before. It may not. And I'm couching my words here. It may not. But the proper thing to do is to do it. But what concerns me, senior, this government continue to boast about how much money they're collecting. They continue to say it's more than what they expect. So what is the hindrance of presenting the budget to the people, senior?
The government is corrupt. The government flaunts the law with impunity. They look at what the government did with GDP Bank. Look at what the government doing with the national lottery. Look at the government attitude with the CBI program. The government flaunts the law with impunity.
That is why when I was going through the legislation and I saw how they intend to treat the judicial officer, I said, Lord, poor people children get beat up again. Because the thing, if even though you look for a dress that the same set of men, you go in before you go in.
You get shaft.
So what they go do?
Yes. And they try to buy the teacher's head.
Yeah.
So they're going to screw the children in the school. Yeah. And they're doing a good job of it. 70% of the children that come out from school are struggling on the job market. So the government is really, that's an evil government.
Yeah. Transformation, you call it.
It's an evil government.
Somebody said it's only around party times they passing the law. That's why we're not focusing
of course
on them. So they just slip it in.
Yeah. Draconian laws. When we say, I think Draconia come from the person who first initiated Draconia.
Yeah, that is the name.
And Deacon said it was Draconian laws. Draconian laws mean the laws is excessive. It's unnecessary. We have a democratic country. We have a constitution. We're not Cuba. We're not Iran. We're not Russia, China. There is absolutely no need for draconian laws. What would happen in Trinidad now? The police is empowered. You could have judicial killings, summary execution. The police could kill people who would inform on them. In Trinidad, Massacre helped me there. I don't know the terminology to use. The rate of solving crime. You have a term, you use it in the police. In Grenada, it is very high. Grenada police solve
Solving rate.
The solving rate of crime in Trinidad is very low.
Low as a Guyana dollar.
So what you need maybe is more undercover cop, better relationship with the public to get information. They claim the police very corrupt. So you need to, even within the police force, you need information on the police. Not empowering corrupt police to break down people, door, block. They could even kill opposition members. The police could kill people who give information on them. So we believe that draconian laws are unnecessary. State of emergencies are unnecessary. What we should focus on in the Caribbean, and we're going to spend some time on a program, how to reduce crime in the Caribbean between 5 to 10 years. We believe we could reduce crime in Grenada and the Caribbean. And we want to challenge. And we want to challenge the institutions like the trade unions in the Caribbean, the different bar associations in the Caribbean, the journalists in the Caribbean, the University of the West Indies, the Chamber of Commerce, to safeguard
the teachers,
the rights of our people. Don't let them trample on our people's rights. Even Deborah Charles, the poor of the poor, the poor of the poor, you're making them frustrated. They're going to walk inside your office with an iron gun one of these days. It happens in other parts of the world.
with an iron dog.
And a woman tell me, she said, I wish I could have tied a bomb on me. And I say, if you tie a bomb on you, go block.
Yes,
She said, I said, what happened to your children? And your man go cry.
Yeah.
Don't tie no damn bomb.
1 minute to go, guys.
But definitely we're going to continue during this period to provoke discussion, to challenge and to dare those we consider as the jugglers.
So how we get rid of state capture?
I don't know.
Can't
First
get
of
it,
all,
can't
we
get
have
it,
to make make our people aware that what's going on.
Yeah.
There seems to be a third party that directing our foreign policy. There seems to be somebody interested in the site of the St. George's of the university, not the university,
Mahogany Road.
hospital,
Mahogany Road.
and the
And the
college,
hospital, yeah, and the college.
The prison.
The prison.
So Deacon want to build another prison, and you have to recognize by now, Deacon is evil. All of us have a little evil in us, but Deacon is evil, and we must not permit evil to go. We want to thank you very much. This is Studio Galaxy.
Big up Mr. Watts.
473 in Confaro, Mr. Watts,
Big
and
up.
all the others who listen to us. And we want to continue with the discussion. Thank you very much.